Hello! In this video I will be explaining some of the map features of D-Day at Omaha Beach, the computer game. Okay, the map is from the original board game with some conversions done to it. Hexes are 250 meters across. It covers the entire beachhead. First thing I want to make you aware of is the zoom features. You have a zoom scroll bar here, which you can change the zoom on. You can also use the keyboard. Number 1, oops, got to be inside the window. 1, 2, 3, changes the zoom to the corresponding number. Most of the time, however, you'll probably just be right-clicking. The first right, if the map is not already at the full screen view, the right clicking will bring it to that view. Right clicking again someplace will reset the map at the default zoom, centered at the point where you click the mouse. And this has to be a location without a unit or a German position. It's also a very common way that you'll be zooming is with the mouse wheel if you have one. So rolling the wheel one direction or the other will bring it in or out. Okay, but right clicking is probably the best way once you have the default zoom set to the level you want, which you can do by picking a level, then hitting the set button and clicking OK. Okay, so getting around the map. Really the easiest way is right-clicking. Right-click, zoom out, find the position you're interested or unit you want to look at, right-click in nearby it, and then it's usually easiest just to hold the left mouse button down and drag for fine-tuning. However, all the keyboard, conventional keyboard things work, such as page up, page down, left, right, up, down arrow, home, and the tab and shift tab. Okay, some of the features of the map. One feature I consider important is there's map hinting on terrain features, which you can turn on and off from the view menu, which is the hex site information. You can also press the H key. So a little letter will show up to indicate hedges for bouquet, which is a very important terrain feature. You'll see a bouquet in the center of the hex. And then along the beaches where you have all these cliffs and slopes and bluffs, and it's kind of hard to tell what they are, I find this to be very useful. So X is an unscalable cliff. C is a cliff that can be climbed by infantry units, bluff, and then you have the American's friend, slope. Shingle hex sides don't get any information because I think they're pretty obvious, as are the anti-tank ditches. As you move the mouse around, information will show up in the information panel, which will tell you your hex location, the hex side you're closest to, the terrain features, hex side feature of where you were last at, and whether it's under U.S. control or not. Okay. So one thing you'll notice on this map is there's all sorts of little circles around, and these are the German. Well, first of all, the dotted lines are German positions. With the exception of armor unit, all German units always are in German position hexes, which include the Widerstands, or whatever they may be pronounced, positions. Armor, if you use the optional rule, could be anywhere on a road, but that's special. I won't be going into that. But anyway, so German positions have associated fire dots with them. The filled-in circles are intense fire. Usually, if there's a unit there, you have 50% chance of being hit. Being hit means you lose a step. If the unit is concealed, such as this one, you would be disrupted also. Generally want to stay out of those until you're ready for a fight. These half-filled circles are steady fire. The chance of being hit is reduced to a third. Well, actually 1/6. And then you have sporadic fire dots, which are you can only be disrupted in these, and the chance is fairly low. So the fire dots are all over the place, and they're color coded for the positions. The other option you have, you can, if you press and hold the right mouse button down, the program will shade the associated field of fire, with the darkest hexes being intense, and then lighter being steady, and finally very light being the sporadic. And that's if there's a unit there, it'll move it out so you can see what sort of terrain there is. And so the position can be filled or not, and that will work. For US units, if you right-click, well, you don't right-click, hold the right mouse button down on a stack, you can view what's in the stack. Okay. Now, tides play a very important role at Omaha Beach. What the program will do is, as the tide line changes, the map will change to represent the new coastline. Also, as I'm sure you're aware, the beach was heavily mined at the mid-water level. As the mines are cleared, they'll be removed from the map. Plus the roads were mined too. These red roads are still mined. That shows up in the hex site information too. As they're cleared, they'll return to a normal gray color. If you need to look at terrain effects, you can press T or go to the tables button here, and then terrain effects. So first it'll show combat effects. Defense 1.5 is a misnomer. Actually, the way that's calculated is the first step is doubled, but the second step, if present, is not. So a one-step unit is effectively doubled in this kind of terrain, while a two-step unit is approximately increased by 50% strength. But the program will tell you what the strength of the unit is when you go for the combat calculations in any case. Movement effects are well, no unit can enter ocean or rough, obviously. Generals and headquarters generally move better. Infantry generally moves 1 hex in the first half of the game and 2 hexes in the second half. All your mechanized units are pretty much stuck to the beach until engineers have cleared the obstacles, and then they can only move on roads and clear terrain. But the program will always tell you what moves are legal or not by shading. Another very important feature of the map is control. So we can toggle control by clicking on that button or pressing the C key. When you do it, it'll give you a little victory point report. But more importantly, it'll show U.S. flags that are under U.S. control, which means it's behind U.S. lines or in a U.S. unit zone of control. The shaded hexes are hexes that are in German communication. Two important things about control and communication is that the U.S. zones of controls do not extend up bluff hexes and cliffs. They also don't extend into a blockade hex. Well, when a German unit can trace a line of communication through the first blockade hex it comes to. So if there had been a U.S. unit here, this unit would still be in communication because this hex is not really controlled by the U.S. Till I come up with something better, the little red triangles here indicate these units are in communication. That's German communication is important for reinforcement placement and for these units with the red flags in them. If they're defeated in combat, rather than being totally destroyed, the first step goes back into the German reinforcement pool. So you do want to try to surround these guys before you kill them, and and don't be fooled. One of the things that makes the game difficult is German fields of fire cancel U.S. control. So even though a hex may be in a U.S. Zone of control, if it's in a German field of fire, the U.S. does not control it, such as this hex right here. Clearly behind U.S. lines, but the German unit can fire on it, and so it's not controlled by the U.S. It's also not in German communication, so it's sort of a no man's land hex. And okay, one other side panel I'll go in. The last thing was the go to button. There's two things you can do with go to. One, you can pick a location from the list here, which is all the text that's on the map. So if you're trying to find a particular town, that's probably the easiest way to find it. So you select it, then you hit go to. If you need to go to a particular hex, say 0329, and you can type that in, and if it's a legal hex, it'll recenter the map at that location. This side panel, there's actually 4 different panels that can be shown. As you can see, they don't really fit, so you have a choice of which ones you can show by just clicking here. When you're happy with it, hit done, and that's it. You also see that a lot of the buttons, come on, none of the buttons, okay, a lot of them have hints. Okay, there we go. So the German artillery, offboard artillery, nice feature of this, you click on that and it'll oops, didn't want to do that. It'll show you where the observation posts that are still under German control are present, so you do want to eliminate those. Okay, so we're good. So that's the